What's up, everyone? I'm going to do one more quick live stream. I've also had a lot of questions about my irrigation system, so I wanted to talk about how I built it. And it's even easier than all that, so if you're intimidated by all that, this is a piece of cake. So basically, go ahead and zoom on here and I'll show it piece by piece. So these are just, it's just PVC pipe, and this is 1/2-inch PVC here that I got it, just Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. And I connected it with the T-fittings here. This here is a 1/2 inch to a 3/4 or whatever that is. The next step up is 3/4 or 5/8. I can't remember. But the next step up is 1/2 inch. So it's adapter up to there, and then this is the same pipe. It's the same size as my hose that I have on the garden hose. And I'll show the connector that I use to hook the hose up to this in a second because I've got it hooked up to another bed. But I'll talk about how I built this. So once you connect the T's to the PVC here, I've got a cap on the end of it so the water stops, and then we drilled holes every about 6 inches or so all the way down the PVC, but we alternated sides. So you can see on this side there's a hole there, and then on this side there's a hole there and another hole there. So it's alternating every 3 inches all the way down. So we just continued that all the way down here. I measured, so I had the square foot garden grids on here before I built this, so I already had these screws drilled in where I was using nylon for my grid system, so I just tried to build them to match approximately to that. It's not perfectly, a foot every so often, but I've actually replaced my my grids in the square foot garden system at least one way with these PVC pipes, so I don't have the string going everywhere. I mean, it became a nightmare every year to deal with that getting tangled up and messed up and everything. So I continue all the way down through here until the very end, whenever I hit one of these, or I get one of these elbows, and then end it there. So again, like I said, it's really simple. It's really cheap to build this. The other main type of irrigation system, the black tubing with the emitters, that works really well, and honestly it's probably better than this, but it was going to cost me a lot more money to go down that route, and I wanted to save money. So the downsides to this system are that I can only water one of these beds at a time off of city water pressure. I'm still working on some ways to get it to where I can water 2 beds at a time, but if you had the black system with the small emitters, I mean, you'd be able to water a whole lot more at a time. But so I'll go ahead and turn it on now and show. It's hooked up to another bed, but I'll show how it works. So, Carrie's over there, she'll turn. Thanks, Carrie. So, you can see here, it just kind of sprays out, and we let this run until we see water coming out the bottom of the beds, and that's how we water it. I don't need to be watering right now because we've had a lot of rain, so I'll cut it off here in a second. But basically, we wait until the soil is dry down to about 2 or 3 inches, and then we water again. That's usually about once a week this time of year. Once it gets hotter, sometimes it's 2 times a week. Sometimes it's 3 times a week in the middle of July when it's really, really hot. But that's how we water. In the beginning, I overwatered. That's a classic beginner's mistake, and I definitely made it. But this makes it to where I don't worry about it as much because it's a lot easier to water. I mean, I built this system because whenever I expanded from the original couple beds I had into these other beds, it became a huge chore to keep all this watered. It took a lot of time, and it made it to where I couldn't really expand anymore. But once I built these, it made it to where it could free me up to do other things. So initially I would come out here and just hook up a hose and let it run. I mean, it usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes before it completely soaks it. And then I would set a timer on my Apple Watch and switch to another bed. And I would go do something else. I would go build something, and then I'd come back and switch it. Before that, I had to be over here, watering it or getting the rainwater and watering it. So again, I want to hook this up to the rainwater system so that I could take advantage of some of those things that I mentioned before about how nutrients are absorbed better, or not nutrients. So the plants like it better whenever the water is the same temperature as the soil. So anyway, I want to do a quick video on the irrigation system just to talk about it. Were there any questions that came up or anything? Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everyone.